period of 2005 to 2010, there was not even a single patent from the African continent, despite that we are the biggest producers of cassava. Because of that, if you go back through time, because of the limited application of knowledge, you see that actually we are counting very, very little when it comes to the world trade from the time of independence around the 60s and up to when we went into the 21st century. So that is something that we need to be worried of. Now, the second I said, the African parliaments have to help us actually to have investment in the education sector. But besides the overall education sector, they also have to help us in heavy investment in research and development. Now, you will see there, actually, the speaker was asking about the 1% GDP, which was decided upon by our heads of state and government. It is only South Africa which came close to 1%, maybe this year, but it is 0.93. That was to 2008, and the rest of the African continents, they are fluctuating between 0.1 to 0.6. So we have not even reached there. However, you have to see India, China, Brazil. They are above 1 or around 1. And then you can see the big economies, especially the United States. It is around 2.76. So this is very, very important. For us to move, we need the investment. Besides the education, now you have also to go into research and development. If we do that, then we should actually come up among, let's say, if we work very hard, among the 500 top universities of the world. That should be our zeal. And you can see by September last year, those are the top universities. United Kingdom has 4, and the rest are American universities. So for us to measure that we are really doing very well, we have to try and work very hard to compete with those ones. However, we take the best university in Africa, that is the University of Cape Town. You can see it is at number 161. 161 is not a joke. To be on top of the 200 universities in the world is no joke. But you can see how South Africa is doing very well. The University of Cape Town is number 1 in the world, 161. The number of students, you are seeing them, the number of staffs, but the most important there is the endowment. You see the money that they have at reserve, that anytime if things go bad, they can go there and use. And I'm not sure, most of the people are from the parliaments here. Maybe that money that is put somewhere aside at the University of Cape Town is higher than most of the budgets of some ministries in African countries. So this is a reality. However, you can also see the number of Nobel Prizes. So far, it was established in 1829, and they have won 5. So whenever some vice chancellors come and say, we are number 10, we are number 12, the best, my university is now number 20 or number 5 in the world, there is a difference. There are universities and universities. You see the number 1, you cannot compare with the number 2 of Africa. You have to ask about the endowment. You have to ask if they have ever had anybody to be considered, let alone winning a Nobel Prize. So the Pan-African Parliament, what you have to do for us is education, quality, energy, water, food, nutrition, health services, transport, climate change, policies. The problem with Africa is that we have too many policies. But in modern terms, in the modern days, if you are receiving a policy without an implementation plan, that is a very bad policy. So I think you members of parliament in the modern days don't accept only to receive these policy documents. We have a lot of them on the continent, but we need the ones which have got an implementation plan, and also the one which shows the monitoring, the evaluation, and the review of these policies. And to do that, ICTs are very, very important. Now, after education, which is very important, I will not touch on everything. I'm touching on another very important issue is energy on Africa. And you can see there the consumption of energy in Africa. You see our population, we are actually the least continent in terms of the consumption of energy, about 3%. That is very, very low. This means that our production sector is not actually using much of the energy. However, when we are talking of the energy, a lot of African governments, even the parliaments, they're obsessed with the oil. Oil is going up, prices are going up. But if you make the discrimination of the production of electricity, you will see that oil is not on the top. Number one there is coal, number two is gas, then hydro, nuclear, oil, and then 6 are the others. So why do our parliaments just use a lot of time to discuss about oil? Don't they have facts and figures? We have a lot of that, and you can see those are the best countries actually using coal to produce electricity. South Africa is number 1, and the German is number 12, 46%. Now, these are resources that we have. I'm trying to tell our parliamentaries that when you go back, I think you have to shift your debate from oil and go to other resources. You see, actually the coal, Africa, we have 6% of the world's reserves, which they can last us more than 300 years. My own country, Tanzania, as a geologist, I know that on the three deposits, we are having more than 1.5 billion tons of coal. But we don't have electricity in Tanzania. We are having more than 7.5 trillion cubic feet of gas, but we don't have electricity. This is because I think we are all obsessed with the oil. Now you see there natural gas, Africa 8%. You see the production, the consumption, the oil 10%, production, consumption. The reserves of uranium that we have, they can last us more than 100 years. And the hydropower, we are accounting for actually 12% of the world's resources. However, there is the energy of the future. That is where our our members of parliament is to focus. These are the renewable energies. There are different types of renewable energies. We have the bioenergies, the bioethanol, the biodiesel, the biogas, the biomass. I think there are so many companies coming in Africa for the biodiesel. An example there is the one in Mozambique. They have acquired 70 hectares. The Italian company has put in $20 million for the production. But we have the solar. Again, the solar, it is not the Africans who are actually on the forefront. You see here the Europeans. They've put in 400 billion tons such that they generate electricity, go across the Mediterranean Sea, it turns the budgets, and that energy goes into Europe. The wind is the same. The Germans are actually having a big farm around the Red Sea for 200 megawatts. And South Africa is doing very well on the wind. It is now actually having 100 megawatts. Then we have the geothermal. The best class for you to go and study the production of energy through the geothermal sources is Kenya. Right now is about 209 megawatts of electricity of energy in Kenya is from the geothermal, and they are having new projects. By 2013, they will have about 500 megawatts from the geothermal. And if you see the rift systems, which comes from the Red Sea through Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, going south, Malawi, the eastern and the western, it's good that actually Rwanda has a strategy that they also want to generate electricity from. So this is the energy of the future. We have the oceans, and this is beyond our capacity, the fusion power, that you can actually use the hydrogen and the helium radioisotopes, and during the